Happy Thursday and welcome to today's episode of Thursday Tech Bites stream. My name's Rick Vanover from Veeam, and we have a rockin' topic for you here today. Looking through the museum here at Veeam, so much of what I have behind me was curated from events like VMware Explore and VMworld, previously known as. I've got two people to help me out here today. We've got Anthony Cusimano from Object First, and we also have Kirsten Stoner from Veeam. Now, Anthony's tuning in from Florida in the US. Kirsten is also with me here in Central Ohio. We've got one of our producers in Central Ohio, another producer in Atlanta, social media engineering coming in from Texas today. Please let us know where you are tuning in from, what US state and or what country that we are having everyone join from, because we're going to light up this map and you're going to want to see it. So before I forget, I got to start with a question for Kirsten. What year, and you don't know this was coming, so what year was the first VMware Explorer you ever went to, or VMworld?
So the first VM Explorer was actually VMworld, and I believe that it was maybe 2015 in Las Vegas at good old Mandalay Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good time. It was one of the first big major events that Veeam let me participate in. So yeah, it was really cool back then, and you know what? It's still cool today, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I kind of had a little bit of FOMO that I didn't get to go this year. Last year, I went to both of them, both the Barcelona and the San Francisco event last year. I didn't make it this year because I had some other commitments. But Anthony, how about you? Putting you on the spot as well. What year was your first either Explore or VMworld?
I'm glad Kirsten went first. It gives me time to think. So I believe it was 2018 because it was definitely in San Francisco. It was when they did like San Francisco multiple years in a row. And I clearly remember it. I can't tell you the exact year, but it was a good time. I worked the entire event. So it was exhausting. It was also my first time in San Francisco.
That's the one consistent theme about a major event like that is it's exhausting as an attendee and it's also exhausting as an exhibiting visitor. So really interesting. So I'm going to actually ask another question of you from the audience. What year was your favorite VMware Explorer or VMworld? And we'll get to that here in a bit. So I can actually see the LinkedIn chats here, and we're live on LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, maybe another. I can't keep up with them. There's so much this technology. It's amazing what they do. And I see so many people joining. This is awesome. All right. So before we get started, as everyone has seen these streams before, you know Kirsten. She's on the product strategy team. She keeps me honest on these shows. Thank you for that, Kirsty. But Anthony, we're green, you're purple. What's going on? Give me a quick intro of yourself and your role.
Yes, my name's Anthony Cusimano, Technical Director of Marketing at Object First, Director of Technical Marketing. I think that makes more sense for me to say it that way. And I'm here representing Object First, which is Veeam founder Ratmir Timoshev and Andrei Baranov's latest startup focused on delivering some super awesome storage that's purpose-built for Veeam.
Yeah, good stuff. And, Object First is a Veeam-ready partner for object with immutability and regular object storage. But I recommend immutability. That's the only way to go. Yeah. So we'll talk about that here in a second here. But let's go over to the slides here. And I'm going to put you up on this one, Kirsten, because you made the slides. If I had to kind of break down VMware Explore 2023, and that is our goal today, kind of rehash and recap some of that info. And we got some resources we'll show you here. How would you kind of explain at a high level the event?
Yeah, so there were so many sessions and so many topics that were covered at VMware Explorer, but really the theme was, we talked about the cloud and the edge, application modernization, and security. Organizations today, they are running their applications in the cloud. They might be using multiple clouds, and they really need to find a way to optimize spend, reduce costs, and increase resiliency. But with their data, being dispersed in a distributed environment, it can become complex. So really VMware talked a lot about how they're going to, simplify this for their customers and making sure that they're connecting the data from the cloud to its users, to the application to help run the modern business today. And then when you think about application modernization, there's always, this talk about Kubernetes, what's coming, how do we make the most out of our resources, improve uptime and resiliency. So that also was a theme. They talked a lot about AI-powered integrations. Some of the keynotes really highlighted the use of AI and that technology. And then lastly, but most importantly, is security, which is something that is top of mind for every leader today, just making sure that their data is secure and they're doing everything they can to, be on top of security for their business. So
no, I think that's really relevant. I mean, the security plays well, for what Veeam can bring with cyber resiliency. I mean, Anthony, I know you've been in the backup industry for a long time. You'll probably like my comment that, we have nothing but evidence of seeing bad things happen to good data, right?
That's right.
And we just love being the hero in the backup industry to kind of remedy that. And if you were to look at these three themes that Kirsten identified, which one sticks out to you?
Well, a little bit of backstory here. I'm going to talk about the AI-powered integrations, but a few months back, NVIDIA did this big announcement where they were talking about their AI strategy. And I had like a minor panic attack because it was just so unbelievably far future facing that it was like, it's finally here. The big change we've all worried about is here. And it took me a few days to come down from that and then show up to VMworld, see that the largest AI producer is now partnering with the largest virtualization engine. And, this is really happening. And it's scary because change is always something that, we as humans struggle to deal with. But I think, like you said, Rick, it's got a lot of potential too. I mean, the amount of data required to just make AI even remotely good is impalpable. And to see these two giants team up and to know that one, they're going to use this to help improve security, and two, there is going to be just a massive dirge of data that comes out of this. It's going to need protection. It's going to need to be ransomware proofed. It's good, but I'm scared. That's the long and the short of it.
Oh, the long or the short. That's one of my phrases here. The producers have let me know that the map is ready. So we're going to switch over to the map application. And this is great. We're already getting some entries here. Joining us from North America is Colorado. Hey, US people, you can join. Just let us know in the chat what state you're coming from. And I need Canada. Come on, Canada, Alaska. Let's get a big swath of green across the top. Let's take a look at EMEA. We've got Italy, France, Norway, Slovakia, Portugal, Czech Republic, Netherlands, UK, and Turkey. Oh, I've only been to all of those except two, by the way. I've not been to Norway or Turkey, been to everywhere else. Let's go down south. We got Brazil. And then over east of that, we've got South Africa tuning in from the sub-Saharan Africa region. And we also have, we got Saudi, Bahrain, Iran, and India. So good representation, staying up late for this one. Welcome, everyone. Good stuff. And then also, I want to know, what was everyone's favorite year of either VMware Explore or VMworld? And you can include the virtual ones. It doesn't have to be your first one. Could be the most recent one. Let me know in the comments. I'm seeing a couple, not many. So Tisk, we need to know, because I'm going to put everybody on the spot if they've been to that one. I guess I asked both of you this question, but I didn't ask myself what was the first VMware Explore or VMworld. And I believe it was either 2009 or 2008 for me. It was in Las Vegas, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. And they are fun, but it also is actually super learning rich. And I love the hands-on lab work that they do. So there's so much to it. So let's go back to the slides here. One of the things that I think we've brought as a message to the event is about being better together. And oh, that's interesting. Looks like my slide is stuck. Let me go move it, shake it. No, it's interesting. So just let the producers know I was sharing something else, but it wasn't coming through. That was weird because what I saw was okay, but what was relaying through wasn't. No big deal. So we'll just talk to it a little bit about being better together. And, this is something that Anthony plays well into what you and I at Veeam and Object First are doing, Kirsten.
Yep.
Our partnerships across the hybrid cloud, security, data center modernization, and then also being optimized for VMware. Kirsten, what kind of things stick out to you from a VMware Explore standpoint there?
I would say that just how well Veeam's objectives and what we deliver to our customers aligns to what VMware is also doing. We think about the cloud, we back up the cloud, we help companies make sure that they can help migrate to the cloud and have that backup and that ability to restore. When you think about, application modernization, that data, those applications, they need to, be backed up, need to be protected. You think about security, how we play into security if you were to get hit with a cyber attack. So really just, I think for me, it's really just how well that we align to VMware. We were built for VMware environments. The old saying, Veeam is for virtualization lovers. So it's kind of just how well both of the products have grown together to really, innovate companies' data centers, their applications to make sure they can keep up with the demands today. Because I feel like the more we go on in our lives, the more we need things now, we need to be always available. We need to be ready for anything. And so it just really shows how better together we are.
Oh, Kirsty, you rock. You did all of that while the screen share glitched, and it looks better to me. This is live, friends. When we say live, we are absolutely doing live. And so, those are absolutely great points. And then let's talk, if we can, next about one of the sessions you did. And this is really getting into some of the meat that we brought to one of our breakouts at the event. So, Kirsten, tell us about this pretty punchy topic, zero BS. I love it, by the way.
Yeah, so this was a really interesting session me and my colleague Anthony did together, and we really just talked about, some of the Veeam features that Veeam has for the VMware admin. And then we took a sneak peek into what's coming in the next version of the Veeam data platform. Did some really cool demonstrations. So if you haven't, seen this session yet, you should check it out in the content catalog. Or, if you're making your way to VMware Explore VM Explore in Barcelona, we're also doing the same session there. So definitely be sure to check out the session because it's going to be like the first sneak peek ever into the second sneak peek ever, I guess, right? Into the new features.
Yeah, and we should say when Kirsten referred to Anthony, she's referring to Anthony Spiteri. I don't know if Anthony Kuzumana was freaking out just yet, but
did I do something?
I mean,
do I need to? Am I going
similar.
to Barcelona? No. So actually, Anthony, taking a look at this, you guys live in object storage. It's going to be a source for our backups. Already been a target for immutability. But given that what you all are doing is so focused on object storage, any insights you want to add about kind of object storage and where it sits in the world today?
And I love object storage, and I don't just say that because I work for a company that primarily focuses on it. It's just cool. And, even beyond backup, like it's great for backup, but it has so many practical applications and use cases with metadata tagging and the ability to kind of create these large data sets that AI will eventually consume and do crazy things with. But bringing it back to the use case at hand, the immutability that comes with object storage is pretty much best to none. There's nothing that compares with it. When Amazon invented S3 10 plus years ago, they created governance mode and compliance mode and basically said there are few keys to the kingdom or there are no keys to the kingdom. And they meant that. Like that's the whole game there. And if you're in compliance, you write data in that object storage, immutability is turned on. you're not getting it off for as long as you set it for, which, is it's a blessing and a curse, but truly, if you've done the math, it is nothing but blessing.
So funny story and true story. Kirsten and I did a demo with when we first went down the path of immutability. I don't know if you remember, Kirsten, when I asked you to destroy and recover like 30 virtual machines at once for that one demo we were doing for a journalist. And then I did an immutability demo and I put it on for 6 months. And Anthony, just take a wild guess how long it took before I could delete that sample backup data.
I'm going to guess it was 6 months.
It was in a day because I had to wait
Yes.
to the exact point in time. But, we mentioned Anthony is with Object First. And so I thought this as a partner, it's a great opportunity to allow him to kind of intro the technology they bring, rocking the background, the shirt and everything. You're almost as, on brand as me here. But, give us the quick overview of out-of-the-box immutability.
Heck yeah. So out-of-the-box immutability, or OOTB, as we like to call it. That's Ratmir's new name for our little solution here, because every successful startup has 2 O's in the name. Yahoo, Facebook, Google, Amazon, they've all got it. So we decided, hey, OOTB, out of the box immutability. Let's put what it is right in the name. And just like the slide suggests, we're aiming for 3 key things here. It's secure, it's simple, it's powerful. When I say secure, I'm talking zero access to any of the internal workings of the box, no operating system, no root, no shell, no nothing outside of creating S3 keys and S3 buckets. And to that point, it's very simple. You could do 2 things inside our box once it's set up. Create S3 keys and you can create S3 buckets, which is really all you need to do when it comes to having an immutable object storage, making it easy to integrate into y'all's platform. And that's the only platform we support. So again, we kind of purpose built it for Veeam. And that's one way that we ensure our power and speed and ability to ingest that data so quickly.
And this is definitely your co-founder coming through with the claim of the best storage for Veeam. It's all over the box. It comes in. And to your point, it's, Veeam is the ingest to the appliance here. And it's also built ready for the 3-2-1 rule. Tell me about kind of the offsite strategy here.
No, so we are object storage. And like I said before, Amazon was one of the first big purveyors of object storage in the cloud, and we love the cloud. We're not trying to compete or take any of their mind share. In fact, we encourage every single one of our customers to also utilize that for the exact reason you mentioned, 3-2-1, now 1-0 on top of that. But having 2 copies of that data in multiple locations is crucial. Our whole reason to be, and the reason why we say we're the best storage for Veeam, is we really want to ransomware proof that Veeam data. We want to make sure that no matter what breaks, there's always a point of recovery. And, we mentioned it earlier, I live in Florida. I live in the hurricane capital of the United States. It floods often here. And there's one thing that OOTB doesn't like, and that's water. And unfortunately, you dump a bucket of water or hurricane force winds and flooding comes in your data center, data's gone. That's why we love the cloud, is it represents that secondary immutable object storage target that should be a little more hurricane proof, especially if it's not located in the same vicinity as your OOTB.
So pulling right out of the chat here, a big shout out to Danny Dehair. Sorry if I got that wrong, Danny. Just call you double D. Triple D, Danny Dehair. DDH, let's go with DDH. So Danny from the Netherlands says, quote, now Veeam needs to implement the SOS API for the Veeam Microsoft 365 backup solution. Danny, I love where you're going here. And that's actually one of the secret sauces here is the SOS API, the Smart Object Storage API. That is probably something, Anthony, maybe you and I need to talk more about almost exclusively, because that is secret sauce for sure, if you ask me. And so specifically, DDH, to your question, I don't have an announcement to share here at this time about it, but I will say that in 12.1, we are adding new primitives to the SOS API, but I have to leave it right there. We're going to innovate on that for sure. But Anthony, kind of walk us through how this works. And I apologize, I see again my font's kind of condensed on me, but I think people will get the drift. But
it's all good.
Walk us through the data flow here.
We love fun fonts, and they don't always represent right in the slides, but I think the message still stands. And to Danny's point, we'd love to see that too. We're consuming the SOS API, and that's exactly what you can see in the middle of the screen, that little S3. That communications protocol is happening right via the SOS API, and that is how we're able to sort of maintain our power and performance. On a full UP cluster, we can get up to 4 gigabytes per second ingest speeds, and that's only thanks to the SOS API. If you try to just write to the box via normal S3, you're not going to get that kind of speed. So thanks to Veeam for developing that and making it as awesome as it is. But truly what you see is what you get. It is so easy to use. You rack and stack the box in 15 minutes. You set it up, you create an S3 key, S3 bucket, your backup repository in Veeam. You plug in those little information that from the S3 key, your S3 endpoint, and you're done. Whatever you've got in Veeam, your backup's already ready to go. You just retarget it to us, maybe do a sober scale out capacity tier to cloud. Now your backups are truly ransomware resilient. It couldn't be any easier, and I'm super proud of what we got to build.
Now, Kirsten, you set one up in the lab just the other day, right? Walk us through. I think you had one question, but it's pretty easy.
Yeah, my question was about the service point, but I had the right service point to put in there. Yeah, it was pretty simple, a couple steps of the wizard, and I was ready to send my backups to Object First. So I have some being immutable, but since it's a lab environment, I also have some just going to a standard bucket. So I have to have both. I need to be able to demonstrate both options. So that's available to you as well with it. So.
Yeah, actually, we always advocate to our first-time object storage users, because a lot of folks have never used it before. Uncheck that immutability when you're doing your testing, because otherwise you will fill up your storage with useless data.
Yeah.
So, quick question for you, Anthony. We as a partner, we have each other's stuff in the labs and stuff, and we made one bucket for especially the immutable backups. And then we put folders in there for every Veeam backup and replication server versus making a bucket for everyone.
Sure.
Am I doing it right, or would you recommend I do it the other way?
You know what? The way that you like to do it is the way that you can do it. So I've seen both, actually. You can go logical and have every bucket be a different setup. And that might be something a service provider thinks about doing, is individual buckets for all of their clients. That way there's a logical separation of the data, but nothing wrong with using the pre-existing Veeam folder structure. If you're a single Veeam admin and you're comfortable with organization that way, it all lands in the bucket. And so long as you check that immutability box, it's all going to stay immutable.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we are getting a little bit hot on the clock. So before we do the picks around, let's take one last look at the map. We have new additions from Germany, from Argentina, and Brazil again. We also have added Indonesia, Pakistan, and Nigeria. And we also had Portugal added, Germany, a couple others. So really good. Thank you all so much for joining here today. All right, so I'm going to go back to the slides one more time. Jeffrey, I'm having you do those switches. I really appreciate it. I know we're moving fast. But we had, Kirsten, walk us through a couple of views of your experience. And then, Anthony, I'll have you kind of summarize what you guys were doing at your booth down there.
Yeah, so these are just some pictures of what was happening at the event. There's some really great keynotes. We, got to learn what VMware is working on, what they're bringing to the table for their customers. We had a lot of action at the Veeam booth. We had in-booth presentations talking about everything from security to the best backup storage. We did a lot of demonstrations, and then just, walking around the event and seeing how many people were there and getting to meet new people. There was that really cool, sand sculpture. And there were so many exhibitors there as well, like Object First, that you just got to learn a little bit more what they were coming to the table with, what's new with them. So really some really good stuff.
And how about you, Anthony? I mean, looks like we got Matt there, and maybe I see Vitaly, I see David.
That's
right.
A
lot of the members of your team. How was the chats there for your group?
It was great. So the first time we went to VMware Explore, we weren't even selling product yet. We were just out of stealth as a company. So it was a nice opportunity for us to kind of go and say hello. That was the previous year. And this year, we have something to show. So it was a great showing for us because we could actually say everything we're showing here today is real. You can take a look at it. You can proof of concept it if you wanted to. It was awesome. But I think the thing I got to shout out, you can't see it on the picture here, but the purple monitor in the back, we were running Tetris on that all day. We had a high score challenge.
Wow.
One guy, they get one guy who was just like an expert. And he actually went and bought the game, played it in his hotel room all night, came back, got the high score, and he walked home with a Steam Deck. So I was a little jealous, but it was great because it was just this sort of Rocky Balboa story, but it was for Tetris.
Rock on. That is awesome. And then Kirsten, what was your favorite session?
Well, Rick, you know what my favorite session is. It's always the session that I'm doing, you know. So me and Rick have this joke. He always asks me, and I always say the Veeam 1 session, of course, because I did a small Veeam 1 session there at the for vBrown Bag. So if you guys haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out. We also did, Matt Crape did a vBrown Bag session as well, which is both on YouTube. We talked about security, we talked about monitoring, and there's so many community sessions as well that you can, learn from through vBrown Bag. And what's the best part about these sessions is that they're short and sweet. They're 12 minutes. You get a general overview of, the topic, and then you can, hop into another one. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it was great. And then we are getting out of time, but you can go to the vBrown Bag YouTube channel. You can look up the whole playlist from VMworld 2023, and there will be another one coming up in Barcelona. You also can go to the content catalog and search for Veeam. You got Kirsten's session, you got Matt Crape's session, and then apparently two persons from VMware had a session where they mentioned Veeam. I got to watch that. So that sounds like a good idea. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Tech Bytes stream.
Thanks for having me.
And Kirsten, always keeping me honest. Love it. You always help me out. She did all the prep to this week, guys, just so everybody knows. She prepped it all up. And then we have a whole bunch of really good content coming up. Now, let's start with Tuesday. The Industry Insights stream is up with Jeff Reichert from the product strategy team talking to one of a common Object First and Veeam partner, Wasabi. Love that stuff as well, not just because it's green, but because it's good as well. That's going to be up Tuesday at noon New York time, quadcasted just like this. A week from today, Tech Bytes is back. You're going to have me again. Sorry, friends. We're going to have one of our service provider partners, Entirety, coming on, talking about common gaps in full stack security. This one's going to be really good. Josh is going to bring some really interesting perspectives on the security side of things, and I've got a really special new announcement. We're going to do every first Thursday of the month, we're going to do a new live stream type of show called the Veeam 100 Show. I'm not going to tell you what it is. A lot of y'all know what the Veeam 100 is, but you got to come back. I guess that'll be October 5th. That one will be up. All right, TikTok, it's time to look at the clock. We are done. I want to give a big thanks to our producers, our social media team, our video team, and the Veeam and Object First teams that help bring this content to you. Thank you for watching. We will see you on the next live stream.